What's up, people? Mike here, and this is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, crushing difficulty walkthrough. This is Chapter 4, the Western Ghats, I believe is how you say that. Part 1, and the way I decided to edit this chapter, because of how massive it is, and how there's so much like side quest stuff essentially with like tokens and finding treasures and finding random groups of enemies just like at various locations. I decided to edit each video to feature each of the three fortresses that you have to encounter. So I cut out the climbing the tower to get the three locations marked on the map, mainly because it's like 4 minutes of me climbing and opening doors to show each of the places, and it really isn't necessary, and it would have been a waste of time to include it. I end up going the wrong way, and I actually end up going towards where the end objective is for the chapter, because I kind of misremembered the location of where I was going. I, instead of going over the tree bridge, I had to go down through the water here. But the way I tackle them is that I start from the lower left, and then I'm going to do a counterclockwise to end up at the very top of the map. I felt like that made the most sense, like location wise, to do it, just because this first one, I think it's the Bow Fortress, it just seemed like it was the closer one from the tower, and I didn't want to leave I think it's the Trident Fort as the last one, just because you have 2 waves of enemies in that fort. You have the first wave, you do the puzzle, and then you have a second wave of guys with like 3 heavies and like a bunch of shotgunners and shit like that, and I did not want that to be the last point that I dealt with, and I didn't want it to be the first one, so I saved that for the second video. When you get here, I think you can fully stealth these guys, but I'm not 100% positive. I could never get 100% lucky. Mostly because like where they are, if you pull one down, the other guys not immediately see you. And the next 2 guys, I don't know if they get triggered because the first 2 guys get alerted, or and I'm taking like a shitload of fire, but I wanted to save as much of my ammo for the actual enemy encounter coming up, and I honestly don't know how the fuck I managed to live there. I'm pretty sure I was like 1 shot away from being dead. The fact that that guy punched me in the face and he didn't kill me was actually pretty surprising. But yeah, the enemy encounter for this fort, it isn't difficult. It's just the location of it. You can accidentally like go to jump away from guys and you just end up falling because there isn't a complete solid ground around this whole area, because it's like essentially on top of like the land structure. So you might go to jump away from a guy and you accidentally jump like just off the edge and die. But when you first come in here and cover, wait for these two guys to kind of be close together. With a good grenade throw, you can usually kill those first two guys and then get that third guy when he comes down to investigate. It's not always consistent how it works, but this guy here tends to usually end up coming over to this location. That guy isn't always there, and I kind of got boned and got spotted. Because I don't remember if it was in Uncharted 4, but I guess like as long as you're in the grass, even if you throw a grenade, you're still technically in stealth. Because I guess it's just that they don't know where the grenade came from, so they don't really know what to do. As you can see here, the biggest issue in this area is that above me is a guy with a China lake. And I was not getting lucky with these grenade throws, as you can tell, because this fucker is still alive. I'm either overthrowing the grenades or I'm not really sure. But basically you want to kill him as quickly as you can. And then, depending on how many enemies are still alive, you probably want to go and grab that. And I basically have a moment where I think most of the guys are dead already, because I think Nadine was fucking them up while I was dealing with the guy with the China lake. So at this point I'm kind of, I know guys are alive, but I have no idea where the fuck they are. So like I jumped down here because I could hear the gunfire, but I didn't know where the guy was. And this is basically me wasting this weapon. And I think I either hit the wall or I hit Nadine with that grenade shot. I'm not really sure what happened there. So and I ended up while I was looking around for ammo, I ended up dying. So when I go over to cross over to the side, the little cinematic of the walkway collapsing and Nadine being on the other side kind of glitched out, so she's just kind of standing on my side while there's like a giant like gap. So it was kind of weird. Like I got over here and I'm like, why is she still standing here? And then I realized, oh, the bridge or the walkway collapsing like didn't like reset with the checkpoint restart for some reason. I'm not really sure. It kind of was weird. But basically at this point I'm just platforming over to do the actual puzzle. And other than that, I will see you in part 2 for the, I think it's the Trident Fort. The really, not difficult, but the bigger of the enemy encounters. So, we have that to look forward to.
Looky here. What are you willing to bet?
Told you it's some kind of key.
Gold star for you. Now let's see what it does.
What is it? Ancient Hoysala jigsaw puzzle?
Ah, of course. I'm making a bow. Look at that.
Should have asked about the drakes before I took the job.
Not much to tell. I know Nate pretty well, Sam less so. He seemed to just appear out of thin air.
Let's find a way to get back down to the car.
Sounds good. Ah, this is open now.
So, waterfalls and market. Check.
Hey, just so you know, Nathan Drake is no longer in the picture. You don't have to worry about him.